This is the plaintiff, Rosemary Masana. She says she and the defendant moved in together and split the costs of the apartment they rented. One day, the defendant sends her a text saying she needs to move out, and now she's faced with coming up with the whole rent herself or moving out and paying a hefty penalty. The defendant let her down big time, has left her in really bad shape, and she has no other choice but to sue her for the $5,000 she's now going to be on the hook for. This is the defendant, Danielle Armoya. She says she invited one of her best friends over after a bad storm, and the plaintiff hooked up with him and never left. The two of them took over the whole apartment, making it unbearable to live there. The guy didn't contribute anything to the apartment, never paid any rent, and that's not right. Owe her money when she was the one who forced her out? She's accused of running out on a roommate.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. These litigants live together. The plaintiff says the defendant bailed, leaving her high and dry. But the defendant says the plaintiff hooked up with one of her friends and literally squeezed her out. It's the case of leaving with a bang.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome.
Okay. Rosemary Masana?
Yes.
You are suing Danielle, how do I pronounce your last name? Armoya for $5,000. According to you, you are actually damaged in excess of that statutory maximum. For rent, because she bailed on you and left you with the whole rent payment. So she was your roommate. How did you two meet?
We've been friends since high school back in 2000.
Okay, so you decided to live together when?
We decided January of this year. We were looking for an apartment together. We signed the lease January 25th.
That was going to go until the next January?
Until January 24th, 2014.
Okay, were either of you students at the time?
No.
All right, so so you go along and everything's fine until it's not. What went wrong?
She got into nursing school, and she told me, I can't pay for the rent anymore because school's more important to me.
Okay, so when did she move out?
In the end of May.
All right, and nursing school was starting when?
September.
But she had to save up money or something? All right, how does she tell you I'm leaving?
Basically through text message that I'm leaving this weekend. It's the only time my boyfriend and my father can come pick up my stuff.
Okay, can you show me the text messages? What happened?
I got into nursing school in April. I decided because I can't get any financial aid, I have to pay for it all by myself. It's a $1,700 bill. So I could no longer pay the rent. It was either paying the rent or not paying the rent or not going to school.
Right.
For me, school is more important.
Sure.
It's my life.
Right. But,
but we had come to an agreement that I was no longer to pay the rent, and I was just to pay her what I had owed her for the moving in costs.
Oh, because you still owed her other money?
I owed her money because when we first moved in, we moved in a little earlier than I expected. She laid out the money for me.
That's like already a bad sign. How much money do you owe her for moving costs?
Right now, I only owe her $800.
Is that accurate?
$883.
Yes, I'm sorry, $883.
That's accurate.
She stopped paying in July. She paid every week from the time she moved out.
Yeah, you stopped paying because she sued you for the rent. Because she's suing you about the rent. Why don't you, listen, what she wants, she's asking for a lot of money. She's asking for your portion of the rent for 8 months, even though you're not living there.
Right.
Right. And what efforts did you, and your defense is, hey, I have no defense. Okay. But there is one defense she has, even if she doesn't know about it. And it's, why so much, Judge? And here's why. Because in the eyes of the law, even though there's an agreement between the two of you that she's not going to leave you hanging, there's also an obligation on your part to do something rather than just sit back. You got to mitigate your damages. Okay. What efforts did you make to get another
I had
roommate?
asked a few friends at work that I know they have good jobs because I'm a nurse. They're all nurses, and they were living home, and they didn't want to move out of their home to pay $765 a month plus utilities.
Who lives? Is this the boyfriend?
It says.
Okay. Did he move in?
He moved in because she asked him to move in to help pay out the rent. And I said that the rent is between me and her. If he wants to move in, he can pay the utilities. That would help her and me save a couple $100 a month. The agreement was not between him to pay any part of the rent whatsoever because he was contributing money at his house. And I couldn't ask him to pay more than that to move in. And I only knew him for 2 months, and they've been
Why is he
friends
moving
for
in
years.
anyway then?
To help.
Did you know him?
Yes, we have been friends for about 6 years. He has been one of my best friends for about 6 years.
Okay, but nothing romantic between you two.
Nothing. We never dated.
Okay.
We never dated.
Okay.
But
Were you surprised in any way that they started dating, or that didn't bother you?
it didn't bother me that they started dating. It was more or less the fact that the snowstorm that we had in February, that huge snowstorm we had down in New York, I had asked him to stay for a couple of days because I thought it would be fun because I was moving out, having my own apartment, and we were hanging out all the time. And ever since that snowstorm ended, he practically never left my house, which was fine. They started getting close. Next thing I knew, they started dating. Was I upset? No, I wasn't upset. I could care less. It had come to a point, it had questioned to me if I was jealous because there has been something between me and him in the past.
Oh.
And I said, no, I could care less anymore. I have my own boyfriend who I'm extremely happy with. I don't care that they're dating. It was more the fact that he was at my house every day. I would come home, he was there. He was there all the time. So in my head, I was like, if you're gonna stay here all the time, eat dinner here, watch TV, do everything, contribute. So when I decided I couldn't afford to live there anymore, I had run it past them. I had talked to Rosemary about it and said, well, maybe we can ask Ruben to move in. So
You mean instead of you?
Instead of, and when I moved out, I had asked
You didn't mean ask him to move in
while I was there, no.
and then we both pay less rent. You meant ask him to move in your place.
So that I can move out. And we did talk about it where he can only pay the utilities because I do know that he was still living at home and he was giving rent to his grandmother. I do understand that. But then they said in July that he would, in June that he would stop paying his grandmother and move in. It did come down to the fact that he was only going to pay the utilities in the house and she was going to take over the rent.
But you'd already moved out in May.
I moved out in May. I paid all of May.
You didn't pay the June rent.
No, I paid. He moved in.
All right, come on up.
So, anybody here actually have a really good friend and you move in together and it just totally blows up? You have. What happened?
Absolutely. Well, he ran out of money, started eating all my food, drinking all my beer, and ran out of rent money.
Yeah, you got me at the beer part. Why do good friends often just blow up when they move in together? What do you think?
I think it's because they take advantage of the friendship, so they feel like they're entitled to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what.
I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly right. Going inside the courtroom.
Are you paying rent
No,
for this place?
no,
Are you paying rent with your grandmother?
no. I live there. but
You're living here?
Yes.
Are you living with your grandmother?
No.
Are you paying rent with your grandmother?
No.
Are you paying rent here?
I pay the utilities here.
Why don't you pay some rent? If you're living there and you're no longer paying your grandmother, why isn't he just paying rent where you guys are?
Because that wasn't the agreement at first.
Well, at some point, maybe it should become the agreement, honey. I mean, it is what it is. If that's what you choose to do instead of getting a roommate, do it. But that's why I'm cutting off your damages at a certain point, because there's still an obligation on your part to mitigate damages. So I'm going to order her to pay you 3 months, June, July, and August, which should give you, I think that 3 months is enough time to find an acceptable roommate. I don't think a day is, but I think 3 months is. I am also going to award you the $883 that she has admitted to owing you. So that'll be 3 months rent at $765 plus the $883 for a total judgment in your favor of $3,178. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff has collected not everything she sued for, but let's see what the defendant has to say about the outcome here. What are you thinking about it?
I'm just glad it's over.
Mm-hmm. How difficult was it to have to live there with the presence of the boyfriend?
Difficult.
For what reason? Because he was.
It was just because he was there all the time. It just was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was living in a bedroom.
Are you okay? I see some tears starting there.
It's okay.
What's going through your mind there? Why is that happening? What are you thinking?
I just lost 2 of my best friends.
Right. It's a long friendship. 12 years? Longer?
About that since 13 years.
Is it definitely a total loss or maybe not? All right. Head right down this way. Sorry about that. All right. Come on in here. Is this friendship a total loss? She's in tears already.
I don't know. Probably.
Really? Mm-hmm. You have any intention of reaching out to her at this point?
I tried to even work things out before she even left and moved out. And
Well, now that this is over, it might be different, a little easier possibly.
possibly, but I don't think I'll ever be what it was.
Mm-hmm. You think you should be paying some rent?
We'll work that out.
Okay. Harvey?
So big decisions you make with a roommate, big decisions about living together should be memorialized in some kind of an email. I'm telling you, it will preserve the friendship. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.